All right, so welcome everybody to ITB 2020. This is our hashtag ITB 2020. This is our first virtual, actually quarantine edition of Into the Box. So we're very excited. We were able to pull this off. I know everybody around the world is going through some crazy stuff, so we're praying for everybody to be safe. Hopefully you're not affected by this, but if you are, we're definitely going to be praying for you. But thank you so much for joining us. We're very excited for the next 2 days to be bringing you great news and good news and something really nice for you to kind of chomp on for the next 2 days and hopefully an entire month. My name is Luis Majano. I am Salvadorian born. I was imported to the US at one point. I am an official gringo. I'm a computer engineer by trade, CEO of Ortus, and I live here in Houston, Texas. So I will be your host for day 1. Jorge Reyes will be the host for day 2. First of all, I want to thank our sponsors for believing in us and trusting in us in this virtual edition of Into the Box, FusionReactor, Foundio, and of course, TerraTech. So thank you very, very much for your support. So please visit them in our virtual booth since we have a virtual world. Also, thank all the speakers across the world from all major continents represented. So thank you very much for making this possible and committing to be here for the next 2 days. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Also, want to thank the ITB committee. This is not created just by me. There's a lot of people in the team have not slept for a month, I would say. So if you see their picture here, or their name in Slack or something, just thank them because they have been tremendously wonderful in putting so many hours to make this work. So thank you very much. All right, so to start, well, it's a little bit different. Obviously, it's virtual. We've created this virtual ITB world. As you can see here from my screen, we have many, many different rooms that you can go into and speak to people. Of course, our keynote we're doing in the auditorium. Then we're going to have our 2 rooms, the box room, which is going to be track 1, and then the Ortus room, which is going to be track 2. So each of those rooms is going to have their own Zoom links, and for you to kind of go in, you can go in and bounce back, or if you're magical and have 2 machines at the same time, you can be logged in those 2 rooms at the same time. You have all the different sponsors laid out, so you can go talk to them, find out more information about them. They can share their video, they can do demos. So take advantage of that as well. And we've also created several channels, we're calling them room channels, basically for you to go discuss things such as Codebox, Command Box, Test Box, Docker, or whatever you want. Several areas. We also created a prayer room. I know in this hard times, if you guys need something, you can drop off your prayers. The entire team will pray over that as well. But just feel comfortable, go through the rooms, explore the world, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. This is the first time we use this, so hopefully it'll be intuitive for everybody. We also have the Modernize or Die virtual happy hour. This is going to happen at the end in the auditorium, so social distancing included. Okay, but that would be great if at the end you guys can stick around. We're going to stick around. We're going to be chatting. We're going to be doing our live podcast session with Gavin, and people are invited to have their special beverage of choice. So that's what's going on for the next 2 days. So to start off with all the things that we've been doing, we'll start off with a little intro of what we've been up to for the past 12 months. So Ortus Solutions started in 2006 in Miami, Florida, and we've been very busy. We've done over 250 legacy migrations. It was actually very incredible to see that we have over 385 open source repositories right now, which I think it doesn't count even some of the team members. So we might be even higher than that. We have about 2.5K. So that's 2,500 pull requests that have been resolved in our projects. And 1 year older, so that's 151 years of combined experience. We are not only a Cold Fusion shop, but we meddle in tons of programming languages and tons of technologies. We have also grown. This is not only about Codebox anymore. We have grown to many boxes. You can see here a collection of open source items. And of course, we also have commercial editions of some of these items, and of course, some software as services as well. Our products really move applications around the world. This is not only for the US. We are established in many, many, many countries and many continents. So it's really wonderful to see how we are affecting the livelihoods of many employers and employees across the world. Very exciting. Just a little revamp of what we do. We're focusing on web development, support and mentoring, UI and UX design, specialties in government for creating government applications, training, DevOps, security, and of course, our legacy migration. So software services is what powers all the open source initiatives that we have. And last year, for those that were at Into the Box here in Houston, we presented several of our initiatives that we've been putting into effect for the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years. And one of them is tooling. Okay, we've been focused a lot on creating tools for developers, putting them into the forefront for other languages, education, obviously that is sorely needed for everything that we do, consulting and mentoring, modernization has been a big deal for us, and of course, to be evangelists for CFML. These are our 5 pillars of what we are doing as initiatives. And last year, we presented this kind of memory lane of how Ortus started back in 2006 and how we've been growing year by year and kind of fomenting things into our language space. And we kind of left off at our rebel teen years. So 2018, we started getting into our teenager years. We're becoming rebels. And we presented what we did in 2018 and what we started to do in 2019 back then. And of course, we're going to be showcasing you what we've been doing. Okay, some exciting little things here that we've done. And of course, in true rebel style, we're going to punch it today in the face. And we're going to give you this retrospective of what we've been doing. Now, most of the things that you see here today are some announcements and some old things, but most of them announcements. So Modernize or Die. This is our first initiative that we started last year. And I cannot be more than grateful to Gavin for all the hard work that he's been doing. We have over 300 subscribers, over 12,000 views. We have 68 episodes already, and we have 3 podcasts. So very, very excited about this initiative to finally give CoolFusion a voice that is stable, that is consistent. And we're very excited about the podcast. Gavin's going to be sharing everything that has to do about the podcast tomorrow in our day 2 keynote. So stay tuned for that one. He's going to be presenting some stats and lots of cool new ideas that we have for, of course, the podcast. So very excited that this initiative that we launched last year at Into the Box is going very, very strong. We also are in our Modernize or Die approach to applications, and this was officially trademarked last year as well. So I'm very excited that I can go and sue you if you're using it. So that's very exciting. But we're very excited that we're moving forward with our initiatives of modernization. We're also expanding. So team Ortus USA has expanded. We got 3 new folks in our team. Michael Bourne, that's also going to be presenting today and tomorrow. Mr. Grant Copley as well, and Paulina Lainez as well. She's our PR specialist. It was very exciting to bring over a PR specialist to Ortus, especially because not only do we need it, but we need it as a whole language. We need the publicity. So we're doing great strides in not only marketing Ortus, but also marketing CoolFusion and CFML. And of course, we're always in need of revolutionaries. So if you're interested in working with us, we are expanding. So we have a hiring booth in the virtual world. You can come over and chat with us and see what kind of opportunities they are for you. We also expanded outside of the US. We have returned to my homeland of El Salvador, and we founded Ortus Solutions El Salvador in July of 2019. And we are 7 strong right now. And we are focused a lot on product development, open source development, global consulting, web support, and we've started a new branch at Ortus, which has been doing a lot of image editing for some companies here in the US. So very excited to be able to go out of our borders into another country and start providing opportunities. And with that initiative, also in December of 2019, we did our first Into the Box LATAM. And that means Latin America. So we're now moving south from the US to reach all of Latin America, hopefully even South America. We wanted to do that this year, but I don't think because of this pandemic we'll do it, but maybe next year. We want to reach countries like Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, Colombia. So we want to move further to reach all of Latin America. It was exciting to see over 100 attendees in Latin America. And the most interesting thing for me was that 90% of the attendees did not know what Cold Fusion was or even that what it did. So it was a great opportunity for us to evangelize about our languages and present these things to that country. Very exciting. We also got government support. Edgardo was famous in El Salvador doing interviews left and right. He was even dancing at our conference. I was going to put a video of him, but he was too embarrassed. But we'll put it in YouTube so we can all embarrass him later. So LATAM was a huge success for us. Hopefully we can rebirth it next year. Also, thanks to Captain Container, Mr. John Clausen. Our container and modernization strategies have gone way above what we have expected. Over 100 commits to just one of our Docker repositories, huge strides in size reductions. We're supporting every engine right now, and including JDK 11 support. We've introduced some tremendous new features such as finalized scripts to provide just these tremendous fast startups for your Docker containers. And we're starting to see even innovation from everybody, including Pete Freitag from Foundio, who has created Minibox, and we contacted him to kind of collaborate with him on that as well. So it's very, very exciting. So if you want to see more in depth of this, obviously stay tuned later on in the keynote today and tomorrow. Our initiative for tooling is also going strong. We're targeting now 2 major IDEs, VS Code and Sublime. We had launches of all of these extensions last week, so they are constantly being developed for our Sublime extension for ColdBox and TestBox. And now for VS Code, we have 3 extensions for TestBox, for ColdBox, and of course for CommandBox, which was created by Matthew Brown, tremendous guy from Florida as well. So we're going strong in providing lots of great tooling for you, and we have great plans on even creating more IDE packages and making them even smarter. Something fun that we introduced is also the Box Life Store. So this is something pretty fun that Edgardo and Paulina put together. It's ortussolutions.com/shop. And now you can merch up and support us, which is pretty cool. Pretty much everything that goes in that store and is purchased goes towards supporting open source. Okay? Everything will go to make Brad create another task runner. So buy a t-shirt, Brad creates a task runner. Buy a cup, and maybe he'll do half a task runner. Okay, but keep at it, keep shopping, and that will promote all the open source tooling that we have. Also very exciting, about 2 weeks ago, we introduced our cloud server initiatives as well. So thanks to Mr. George Murphy, we're very excited to bring you our Ortus cloud servers for AWS. We're starting with the Amazon cloud, and these are Lucy servers that have been hardened, that are optimized with lots of tooling, such as CommandBox. We also provide Nginx, which is highly optimized for mission-critical applications. We're providing an Ubuntu edition right now, and George is finalizing the Windows editions as well. And we're also going to be introducing a lot more of these cloud servers and for other vendors, such as Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure, and DigitalOcean. Now, this initiative was really kickstarted by one chat conversation I had with Mr. Evagoras in CF Camp a few years ago. And this is something that we've been wanting to do, and this was our first start, basically to help developers deploy easier, deploy faster, deploy painlessly. So this is our first start to providing these cloud servers, but we have many, many ideas that we're cooking, even from a CommandBox CLI deployment and the creation of a real Ortus cloud that you're going to be able to deploy to. So we have many, many plans in making deployment easy for developers. Now, these are a short few slides of all the things that we've been doing for the past 12 months globally in terms of Ortus, but there's more coming. In the next 2 days, you're going to be seeing a lot more of these things that we're planning and a lot more things that we couldn't get to complete today to showcase, but there are more coming. But our first one, just to give you a sneak peek of very excited and dear to my heart, is the CallBox Masterclass. So this is going to be an online course. The trainer is going to be Mr. Nolan Irk, that we love. We wrote the training for this, and it's going to be recorded training, 9 sections, 44 videos, over 5 hours of training. It's already on development. Many of these videos are already completed, and it's coming this May. So this month, we're going to start providing you the ability to start using these courses. It might not be complete at the beginning, but it will slowly be including more courses as we go through. And it's going to be delivered in a new platform that we found. And Mr. Eric Peterson is going to be chatting about that platform actually tomorrow. So very excited about this course. We wanted to do a recorded training, but we wanted to do it right, and we're doing it right now. So with that said, for ColdBox, let's begin with ColdBox. So what have we been doing with ColdBox? And it's very exciting to bring you a state of the box today of what's been going on with the ColdBox ecosystem. Incredibly, it's going to be 14 years this June. Amazing to be 14 years into this project, and I'm still very excited about it. The 4X series started in 2015. The 5X series started in 2018 with 13 releases. And the 6X series starts now. And this, to me, is one of the most exciting times for ColdBox because we have started our 3rd major architectural shift in the framework. So this brings way new things, not only to the framework itself, but to developers. So it's very, very exciting, and we'll be showcasing what we have done in ColdBox 6. It's also very interesting for me to make sure that the ecosystem is healthy, that people are using it, that people are joining the ranks. So it's really, really assuring to see that there's a high spike in new entries for ColdBox modules between 2018 and 2020. It's really incredible to see that. So keep them coming. Please keep collaborating. Build the ecosystem. Very easy to just publish your modules in Forgebox. We have also closed over 1,000 pull requests in ColdBox. So we've been very, very active to making sure that contributions are looked at, that they are reviewed, and that we basically involve everybody into the project. Our Slack team memberships have doubled, so 51% increase here in all areas. So very excited about that people are asking more about our products. Also, box products memberships are up by 25%. So this is really exciting for us to see that people are getting more involved with our products. And that's what we want. These products are for you guys to build and create and innovate. Now, last year, we presented our 5-fold vision for ColdBox 5. At that time, we are glad to say that we completed all those checks to increase modularity in ColdBox 5, increase containerization usage, the ability to do on-the-fly renderings for RESTful services, the complete routing revamp of ColdBox at that time for specifically designed for RESTful services, and of course, building this ecosystem of modules where you can go to Forgebox and find pretty much everything that you need. We also presented our roadmap last year. It has not changed, which is really exciting to see. We presented that we were going to start with an alpha of ColdBox 6 at that time. We did. And then we move now to 2020, where ColdBox 5 is now entering long-term support. This is something that we wanted to start offering for all major libraries. So ColdBox 5 now enters the LTS phase, which basically will just be security patches for the next 2 years. And ColdBox 6 is now entering RC and final approaches. And for the next 2 years, we continue our roadmap and see that 5 will end in 2021 support, and then 6 will enter LTS in 2022 as we start digesting ColdBox 7. Right. So with that recap, I am very excited to tell you a little bit about ColdBox 6. So ColdBox 6, the release candidate, is now available in Forgebox. Okay, we cooked it yesterday. It is available, and you can start working with ColdBox 6. And we feel that this version of ColdBox is a giant leap for ColdFusion. And we're not saying this lightly or just to, just be sensationalist, but we really have broken many of the barriers that we've had for a long time, especially with Brad. I want to point out with Brad that we've done tremendous work to bring all these things into effect for us. And we're considering this the age of NPP, which is basically non-blocking programming. This is what has made other languages really famous, as coming from Node, where you had non-blocking approaches, to Clojure, to Scalas, to all these approaches to non-blocking programming. And this has been available in the JDK since version 8. And we're really excited to be able to tap into all that and bring it into the forefront. So today, I just want to focus on 5 of the major features in ColdBox 6. There's many of them more. They're all documented in the What's New. But we'll start off with these 6 features, and we'll start with feature number 1, which is we're lovingly calling CB Futures. So CB Futures is something very exciting for us. We've created completable futures for ColdFusion. So completable futures is an architecture built into the JDK to allow you to do asynchronous computations. We've created the ColdBox System Async package available for the applications to produce these asynchronous pipelines, a nice expressive DSL for async and parallel computations. And we did not close it up to just ColdBox. This is available for all ColdFusion. So what this means is that if you're using Logbox or Wirebox or Cachebox, the async managers are available to you. So if you have a legacy application and you want to use this, just install Wirebox or install Logbox, and it will be there available for you. Okay. It matches almost 90% of the Java API. So if you're a Java developer using this, you will be right at home. It'll be very comfortable. But we also targeted JavaScript developers, and that will also feel comfortable with all the things that they have in JavaScript, such as promises. We have a full session on this topic, so don't miss it. It's tomorrow, and I will be presenting pretty much everything around the asynchronous landscape of the async package. However, some of you might be asking, why invest so much in this when we've had CF Thread? Well, CF Thread is really too oversimplistic, very limited in the amount of threads that you can actually create, cannot be completed manually. There is no concept of a completion stage or a pipeline of execution. You have actually no control of where this thread is going to be executing in. There is no way to trap the exceptions and recover and continue, except you doing a lot of nasty try-catch statements. There is no way for you to do parallel computations, no way to actually get a result very easily unless you're using a shared scope. And then you have to worry about concurrency. You really have to do everything manually. So CF Thread is really great just for something like set and forget, and that's it. Really something very simplistic. But then, ColdFusion 2018 and Lucy 5.35 introduced the run async method. Again, good steps, but not enough. Backed by just concurrent futures, not completable futures. So very simplistic API, very simplistic error handling. There is no way to recover or way to continue executing pipelines if exceptions occur. There is no way to choose or reuse the executor or the thread pool that these threads are going to be executing. Even every subsequent then operation in Lucy actually creates a new singleton thread executor. There is no reuse on these executors, which are heavy to create. There is no way to operate on multiple futures or combine them or compose them. There's no ability to actually schedule these futures or run them periodically. So it lacks a lot of lackluster, and I would say they only tap into about 3 to 5% of what's available in the JDK. So that's what our focus was, is to bring this completable future API into the forefront for developers. So we've exposed the API. This is just a subset of what's available to you, but you have ability to create parallel tasks using methods like all apply, or any of, which you can use status methods, so you actually see what's going on inside of your future operation. You have different pipelines that you can do, the traditional future get, which is a blocking operation to make sure that you get a value. But there's many that are non-blocking, such as then async, then combine, then compose, and a lot of exception handling as well for you to recover between these. And of course, like I said, we have a full session on this, so I won't delve so much into it. But here's a little sneak peek of what it looks like. Okay, I'm not going to go through everything here, but just to point out a few things. You can use closures or Lambda functions in order to send them into operations. You can also use futures, which are what we referring to as ColdBox futures. We have an async manager available to you everywhere that you can tap into. There's abilities to combine futures. So this is like a map reduce operation where you can actually create a new future, wait for the result, and then execute another future, and then wait for both results, and then combine them into a specific result. So you have lots of facilities now to work with futures and non-blocking programming. So very excited about CB futures. Now, task executors kind of came part with the package because this is needed as well. And this has never been offered in any type of approach in ColdFusion. And we find that this is really important to offer. So you have the ability to actually register with our async manager as many thread pools as you want, and we'll manage them for you. There's many types depending on the task at hand. You can create fixed, you can create single, you can create cached, you can create scheduled, all with their different properties to create what we are referring to as non-blocking work queues. We have a complete management API available to you so you can register them and manage them. But we're also going to be creating a visualizer companion module available to you so you can actually see all those thread pools, see statistics, see how they're performing, shut them down, restart them, and even create new ones from our visualizer. So this time you're going to have complete control of how things execute and where they execute. So we have a few sneak peeks of how you work with this. You can, let's say you have a huge data queue that you need to process. Well, you can talk to an async manager and actually create a new future and say, hey, I'm going to execute all these futures in a new thread pool that I want to create with 100 threads on them. Okay. Or if you have intensive operations that are CPU intensive and IO intensive, you can create two types of pools, one for the CPU and one for the IO, and then mix and match them all within your future pipeline. So very exciting of the things that you are going to be able to do with that. We've also introduced scheduling. So you're going to be able to actually create scheduled tasks or periodical tasks using your components that you've already created or closures. You can have delayed executions, you can have single executions, named tasks, and of course, we'll provide a visualizer in the coming months as well. And here is actually a snippet of CashBox. So CashBox now has a periodical reaping thread that is created and managed by their async manager. So very easy, you can see here that it calls the reaping method on a specific frequency every so minutes, and then you start off and kick the scheduled task. So very exciting. These two are the forefront features of ColdBox 6 to allow you to do non-blocking programming of CB futures and tax executors. Our third major feature is, of course, the REST handler. We live in a world of REST. We've had these approaches for a long, long time, more than 2-3 years in our templates, but we finally brought them into the core to bring uniformity for developers in creating the RESTful services. So now you have a new REST handler available to you and a response object that you can use for these RESTful applications to provide this uniformity, exception handling, debugging, authentication, authorization, valid, and of course tapping into all the HTTP responses. So it'll just make your life a lot easier when dealing with REST. We've created all these methods available to you that are auto sensing. So depending on certain things that happen in your RESTful service, they will actually be invoked and provide you with a concise response object that, of course, you can customize if you see fit. Working with it is very easy. So here's just a snapshot of how easy it is to get started. You just extend the REST handler instead of the normal handler. You can talk to the event object and just get the response and work with it. That's it. Very easy. If you like annotations, we even have an annotation approach for you, but very easy for you to start working with pure RESTful handlers as well. Our fourth major feature is the singleton renderer. And this might be not a huge wow factor, but it's a boost factor. So thanks to Dr. B, our loving mad scientist here, and Dom Watson from Precise TMS, we were able to crack this finally. And now the rendering performance in ColdBox is tremendous. Brad's going to be providing some load tests in the future to showcase the differences between the engines, but it's already a tremendous boost of performance since now a rendering engine is not created for every view, but we have a singleton one, and then we've created this type of encapsulator to still provide variable safety for when rendering views as well. So very, very excited about this one as well. And our last major feature that we're introducing is lovingly referred to as Whoops. And this is thanks to Eric Peterson's brainchild. Of course, I think that he actually got this from another area, but we've lovingly adapted into ColdBox. And what we want is a new developer experience for debugging your ColdBox applications. So when you are in development and you have an exception, now you're going to see this. So this is the new ColdBox exception debugging experience. You can actually see here on the left the snapshot and the error type of what happened in that exception. You can actually see the exception message being adapted depending on which engine you're on and what actually happened during that exception. We have a full stack frames available to you so you can see them in a very nice way. We also have the ability to open that file in your IDE of choice, right to the line number. Okay, so you're using VS Code, Sublime, whatever, you will be able to integrate into this and from one click be navigating your entire source code tree. You also have the frame code viewer. So if this is enabled, you can actually get the source code right from within the debugging experience to the line number. So we'll highlight the stack frame and you can be jumping around from each of the stack frames and jumping to those source code and that line number in order for you to investigate what happened in that exception. We also have the nice exception details on the bottom, which is a nice panel showing you pretty much all the environment that happened at the time of that exception. So you can have a lot more information when completing your debugging and fixing your errors. You can see here the exception stack trace in full candor right here. But I can honestly tell you, working with this now, solving bugs and solving issues is way easier, especially in development. So we're very, very excited about this new debugging experience. This is our first trial. Hopefully we'll get a lot of feedback and a lot of pull requests on how to make this better. There's tons of ideas of things that we could do this, from Jira integration to Sentry integration to all kinds of things. So hopefully this will be a very, very nice way for you to debug your applications in ColdBox 6. So very excited about this release. Final version will be this month. So release candidate is available now, and the final version we're going to be cooking after letting this sit for a few weeks, getting feedback from people, and hopefully we can get this out the door this month. Very, very excited. Lots of hard work to get this out. All right, so very excited to present to you the state of the box. And now I'm also very excited to present my brother, Mr. Brad Wood from another mother, Bernardo Maderas, to come and join me to talk about Command Box.
All right, can you guys hear me? Brother from the other mother. Sweet.
I can hear you.
Well, that's all that matters, as long as you can hear me. Well, welcome everybody. Great to be here virtually, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Command Box. So we've had a lot of Command Box stuff going on this year for sure. A quick bit of Command Box history. Command Box is 6 years old now this year, which is crazy. My little baby's growing up. If Ortus is in the rebellious teenage years, I don't know if this makes Command Box like the whiny toddler or what it makes Command Box, but it's somewhere between baby and teenager. So we've had 25 total releases in Command Box, which is pretty cool. The total number of pull requests I counted up this week has been 448 pull requests. So that's 230 to the Command Box core, 79 pull requests to all of the different modules for Command Box, and 139 pull requests to those Command Box docs. And I love those docs pull requests because I look at them, and as long as it looks good, merge. So keep those coming. We closed 187 tickets this year, which is pretty great. And when I say this year, I mean since last year's Into the Box, basically the last 12 months. And we've had 42 pull requests just this year. So very exciting. That's nearly a pull request a week. As I always say, a pull request a day keeps the doctor away. So we're seeing a lot more community contributions coming into Command Box, which is absolutely fantastic. Also, Command Box usage is continuing to increase by all the measures that we can tell. We obviously can't can't magically look on everyone's computer and see how many people are actually running it, but we can look at things like downloads. We've had over 86,000 downloads of Command Box. We're on track to hit 25,000 just this year. And these are only the downloads that happen on the product page of the Ortus site. This doesn't even track downloads that happen through Homebrew or happen through our apt or Yum installations. So in reality, the numbers are even larger than what you see there. Command Box is continuing to power the servers for the Cold Fusion world. This is one of the most exciting things about Command Box is how much has been picked up. Last year, we had about 37,000 servers that have been started. And we track that by the first time you start a server and you've never used that version of Adobe or Lucy, and Command Box will go download that from Forgebox. We'll track that as one download. So even if you start the server again on the same version, we don't track that again. So last year we had nearly 40,000 downloads of Adobe and Lucy on Forgebox. And this year, those numbers have almost doubled in 1 year. So we've had 63,000 Adobe Cold Fusion installations off Forgebox and 78,000 Lucy installations. So a lot of people are using Command Box to start their servers. In addition, we have some really cool statistics I grabbed from the State of the CF Union survey from 2020. The partial results are published, and so looking through the respondents thus far, 28% of all local development environments are. I saw Pete in the chat says he may be responsible for a few thousand of those downloads. That's all good. So 28%, 1 in 3 local development setups are running Command Box. And of course, this is out of the subset of respondents of the State of the CF Union survey, which is nearly 500 people. 49%, or basically half of everybody using Docker, is using Docker on the Ortus Command Box images, which is really cool. I even noticed from the survey that more people are using Command Box to run Adobe and using Command Box to run Lucy than are using the official Adobe or Lucy Docker images, which is pretty cool. So kudos to John Clausen's work on our Docker images that use Command Box. And also, it looks like 7% of people claim they're using Command Box on their production servers, and I have a feeling that that number will be going up a lot in the future. So many people using Command Box for their servers, which is very exciting. Let's take a quick look at the releases that came out this year. We had the 4.7 release that and introduced the Wirebox injection namespace, which we did to be able to have kind of consolidated experience between ColdBox and Command Box. So you can write generic modules that can be used either in a ColdBox app or from the CLI, which is becoming more and more common in task runners. And so we removed some of the specific injection namespaces and gave some generic ones. We improved the environment variable support for native binaries. When you run a native binary in Command Box using the little exclamation mark, we automatically pass along any of the environment variables in the Command Box shell to that native process. So if you're using Command Box along with a .env module, you have a seamless integration. We added JSON schemas for our box.json and our server.json, which are being used now in our VS Code Command Box extension, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And of course, we had lots of bug fixes. The 4.8 release saw the new cached HTTP installation endpoint. Anytime you use just a direct HTTP download to a zip file in Command Box to install packages, they get re-downloaded every time you run box install. But the cached HTTP endpoint allows it to use the local artifacts. We had enhanced tab completion for native binaries and even for quoted strings, like when you have paths with spaces in them. That was a community pull request. Also, a community pull request was support for the cd- command. That's a nice little trick that we got from Bash that allows you to switch back to the previous directory you were in. So I was just using that yesterday. In fact, I was working on a project. I wanted to jump back to the previous project, cd space hyphen, and it goes back to the previous directory. And of course, we had lots of bug fixes as well in 4.8. Then we finally got over the hill. Well, I don't know what age 5.0 is. Maybe that means, Command Box is like 20 now or something, 20 years old in CLI years. But we had the 5.0 release. So this was a major release in Command Box. We added support for Java 11, which was a really big deal. People using the latest Lucy servers and Adobe Fusion 2016 and up wanted to be able to use Java 11 in their Docker containers. We switched to Lucy 5.3, new versions of JBoss Undertow, Get Access tokens, new Lucy extension management was added, faster server startup scripts were added that we're already using in Docker, file globbing improvements, new menu items on the server tray icons, and even the ability to configure Undertow. So run through a couple of these real quick. These are all the libraries we updated in Command Box 5. Runwar was a major bump. JBoss Undertow was a major bump. I think JGit, no, that was a minor bump. Lucy is effectively a major bump. 5.2 to 5.3 is considered a major release of Lucy. And Adopt Open JDK, our bundled JREs went from Java 8 to Java 11 as well. The Get Access tokens are a very cool feature. If you wanted to clone repos from a private repository such as GitLab or Bitbucket, you would have to use SSH keys, which works. It's a bit of a pain though to set that up. So now we support username and password or personal access tokens directly from the installation URL using the format you see there. And of course, those can be replaced with environment variable expansions, so you don't have your actual password or access token in your box.json. We added some extension management into Lucy to try to help automate the setup of servers and the setup of Docker containers. One of the biggest pain points for people setting up a new Lucy server is being able to automatically access all of those extensions they need to install. So we have a new Lex endpoint. You can see here we have install Lex : and then the path to a Lex file. This allows Command Box to have the ability to directly download Lex files, whether it's off of the Lucy server or off of S3, without them needing to be wrapped up inside of a package. And we also have the direct ability to install the Lucy extensions that are found on Forgebox. This install slug here is the slug for our Ortus Redis extension. Unfortunately, Lucy requires that we use a GUID for those IDs, so it doesn't look very pretty. But Command Box is now smart enough that when you install a Lucy extension, if you're installing it in a working directory of the server, Command Box will see the server and will automatically copy the Lex over to the deploy folder for you. So it's a nice seamless operation. We added a lot of nice little CLI enhancements to Command Box, a lot of things borrowed from Bash. File globbing now allows you to have a comma delimited list of file globs. You can have an exclusion as well, which is also a file globbing path. You can also sort the output of the directory command. We've added helper commands such as unique, which will take a list of items and filter out duplicates. Helper commands such as sort, which will sort a list of items. And even nice little helpers like the count parameter on the grep functions. You can count how many lines match a regular expression. So the CLI has gotten more and more powerful as we go. Also is a really cool ability to use FusionReactor. If you have a license already for your local machine, you can tie FusionReactor into the CLI. So when you're running task runners or local commands, and you want to be able to track the database calls that are being made, the HTTP calls that are being made, just profile the performance of it, you can now tie FusionReactor up to the actual command line itself, and you can pop open the little familiar FusionReactor window, and every command you can run, I don't know if you can read it on the screenshot, but the screenshot shows package list, install coldbox, make directory. So those are actually Command Box commands which FusionReactor is able to track. And it even shows you the breakdown of HTTP requests. So here you see an coldbox create app command, and you see all of the HTTP calls that were made inside of it. So that's a very powerful feature and quite useful for people using task runners. Also, on the note of FusionReactor, they are one of our silver sponsors, and they wanted us to let everybody know about their new product, Nerd Vision. They've just recently released Adobe Fusion support, and they're adding Lucy support soon. Nerd.vision is the website, and it's basically an online interactive debugger. It's a separate product from FusionReactor. It's actually made by Integral, the makers of FusionReactor. But you can sign up for that now. I believe they have a free tier. It's so new, I haven't even played with it, but they wanted us to let you guys know about it. So check out Nerd.vision, made by the same people that make FusionReactor. Okay, We also added the ability of Command Box 5 to start Lucy Light servers and snapshot servers. So if you need to test bleeding edge builds of Lucy, we add those all to Forgebox now, and it's fully automated. So every time new code is committed to Lucy, within 24 hours, we have a build that runs, pulls it into Forgebox, and you can test it right away. We also have Lucy Light engines, which don't have any extensions in them. So feel free to play around with those. Works very nicely with the new extension management. So coming up soon, we already have in development and close to being released Command Box 5.1. You can start up pure HTML servers now in Command Box 5.1. We found ourselves needing to use Node when we wanted to just start just a pure static site. And we said, why are we using Node? That just feels wrong. So Command Box now, you don't have to start a server with a Cold Fusion engine. You get the same tray icon, all the same server.json, but you can do it right there with Command Box and Undertow. Super fast, boots up in just a couple seconds. Application templates were updated for Cold Box 6. We updated the version of Lucy. Really cool new feature is in Command Box 5.1 is the ability to create your own custom menu items in your little server tray menu that do anything you want. So you can tie it together to any arbitrary command lines. We also have the Command Box Thin binary and the Command Box Light builds, which are perfect for if you want to build super tiny Docker images. And Pete Freitag has done some amazing work with his mini box Docker image that's built on Command Box Light and the Command Box Thin binary. The entire thing is only 78 megs, and he's going to talk to you about it in tomorrow's keynote. So to wrap up, in the future, we have a lot of exciting things coming with Command Box. This next year, we're looking to work on WebSocket features, maybe a Command Box daemon mode, so it can continue running in the background. We want to improve our secure by default server lockdowns. And of course, we have lots and lots of task runner improvements coming. So please keep your eyes out on that and help with the testing. And I will now hand you back to Senora Luis Mahano to take control again.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. So thank you so much for presenting everything about Command Box. Very exciting. All right, so a few more things left for the keynote. It's just nice to be able to talk about Forgebox after Command Box because obviously they are companions. We've been also very, very busy with Forgebox, very busy 12 months, 5 releases. We've seen an increase of about 150 new users in Forgebox, 152 new packages, over 2,900 new versions. And what was impressive to me is that we've done over 16 million requests that have been served through Forgebox this past year. So it's very exciting to see, first of all, that it hasn't crashed so much and that our new container deployments are just great and manage the traffic. So that's exciting to see. You can see a big jump in usage this year of 2020, even for our new packages that are constantly increasing. And of course, new versions. So people are publishing more things. And that is exciting to see. That is really easy for you to get your information out the door into Forgebox and people using it. Very exciting. As a version retrospective, like I said, we had 4 releases this past year for 7, for 8, for 9, and for 10. We do use semantic control for Forgebox as well. We've introduced lots of things from a new UI to responsive design, batch updates, dependency viewers, lots of great tools for developers. And the new modern UI really was sorely needed. The last one was from the Box era. And we now finally have something that looks quite nice. And we did great strides in storage. This was something that we focused on last year, the ability for you to store your binaries in Forgebox privately and securely. We provide even a worldwide CDN for you. We provide also US and Europe mirrors for the packages, and it's completely free for all open source packages. So if you're not taking advantage of this, take advantage of it. It's really very easy to do. You just say location equals Forgebox storage, and we'll take care of everything. We also create that works as Brad mentioned on the Lucy extension provider. So Forgebox is a Lucy extension provider since last year. Very excited. So you can publish even your Lucy extensions into the cloud, and all Lucy servers across the world will have access to that as well. However, Today, I'm very excited to launch Forgebox 5. So Forgebox 5 was launched yesterday. We are very, very excited because we are now launching 5 different plans for everybody to use. So we're going to be introducing them today, the Solo, the Pro, and the Business, and the Enterprise plans, and what's coming for Forgebox. Very excited of all the hard work of over 7 months to bring you this today. Community, obviously, always free, always to ferment the Cold Fusion community. Everything unlimited for public collaboration and public packages. Storage, which is more than enough for all your packages you can ever think of. If you want more, we'll give you more. No problem around it. So that stays the same. But then we introduced the Solo plan. Right now, those are for those solo developers that only need private packages, no collaborations, increased storage that will be available to you for only $4 a month. Okay, that supports us as well in maintaining the infrastructure. Then we have also the Pro accounts. The Pro accounts will give you unlimited of those private packages, collaborator-based permissions, a little bit more storage, and more focus on collaborating from a private level. Again, just $9 a month. So if you see a hierarchical diagram of our user accounts, you can see Forgebox here. You can have users, you can have a community, Solo or Pro, and interact with the world as you see fit. But we didn't stop there. And we're building right now what we're calling Forgebox Business, which is coming this summer. Development has already started on this. And this is defined for businesses. So this will be unlimited collaborations, but you're also going to be able to create different organizations and different teams within Forgebox, all with different types of permission levels and package levels as well. Lots of storage as well. And of course, our premium support and mentorship. Okay. So this is the hierarchical diagram of Forgebox as you will see it at the end of summer, from the user point of view, and then from the organization point of view, where you're going to be able to have members with different roles, teams where you're going to assign different memberships and different packages with different permissions for those teams. And of course, your packages now will belong to the organization and not to a user. Okay, so lots of work here to ferment all areas of development for Cold Fusion. And of course, our Enterprise is now available as well. This is only for $200 a month, and you're going to get your own instance of Forgebox. So this is the ultimate Forgebox. We'll create a new database for you, new containers for you, enterprise support, and mentorship for you to manage a complete infrastructure with Forgebox on your own. Okay. So very, very excited about all these plans. They are available now. So if you go to the website, you can subscribe and start interacting and helping. Now, also important to note that if you had private storage in use before it was free, now we will not. You have until June 1st to kind of decide if you want to continue that route. But obviously, we encourage you to. It helps maintain the platform, and I'll be very grateful for your support. Like I said, we're not done yet. We have many, many plans here at Ortus, and with Forgebox, we've kind of laid them out by quarters. So right now we're in Q2. In development is organizations, a move to CB Security 2, a move to Forgebox 6, the beginnings of API v2, and multi-token support as well, with multiple scope support for those tokens. So that will be a move into JWT for Forgebox. Q3, we're going to start focusing on analytics for your packages, even for the enterprise portions, auditing reports, thanks to FoundYou and Pete Freitag. Team support. We're also introducing test box quality reports. So we want to be able to aggregate your test box executions within the Forgebox packages and focus on code quality. What can we actually build to make the life of the developer easier and analyze your packages? And of course, package transfers, so you actually can transfer packages to other people in the community. Q4, we've dedicated to introduce a marketplace. So we've been wanting to do this for a long time. We have it targeted to hopefully by the end of the year introduce the USA marketplace, where any developer can actually sell their packages for $1, for 99 cents, for whatever they want into the entire community. Collaboration managers, and we want to start focusing and move to Elasticsearch. As our content is now growing, we want to make sure that it can be smarter, easier to find things, and Elasticsearch will be part of our strategy moving forward. And then by 2021, we want to focus on the EU marketplace to try to bring these purchases into the European Union and European countries. Obviously, all of these have their intricacies depending on the country that you interact with. CLI purchases, something we wanted to do really quick. If you wanted to install a package and it's purchasable right there from the CLI, you're going to be able to. And of course, package licensing is something that we wanted to focus on as well. We have this on our own for our own products. We want to move everything into Forgebox to be a centralized place of selling. So this gives you a sneak peek of what we're working on. Hopefully we can target all of our goals in the coming future. I guess to finalize on our product roadmaps, we have TestBox. So in the state of the spec, TestBox is now 7 years strong. It has definitely become the de facto standard for cold fusion CFML testing. Over 336,000 installations and usages. And we've had the 2X series in 2014, the 3X series started last year in 2019, and the 4X series started last week. So very excited to bring you a new version of TestBox, packed with some great features. 3X series had 3 minor releases, and it was packed with just lots of new stuff, from code coverage to using streams for creating these reports, mocking enhancements, and of course our new UI. So it was very, very exciting to see that. But 4 has landed. We want to just go over 3 of these features that we've had in TestBox 4 to help you in your testing adventures. There are 3 areas. One is engine deprecation and engine support. This is important for us to out with the old, in with the new. So Lucy 5 and Adobe 2016 Plus are supported now. And we've done lots of work for mocking and output utilities. So we'll start with the output utilities. The output utilities are now going to be stored in the request context, the request scope called request.testbox. And this is thanks to Pete Freitag and Foundio. And now you find yourself in many test scenarios where you want to send things to the console or send things to the debugger panels, and you don't have access to this. But now you can through request.testbox. So that's pretty exciting. Now you can have that. And the major feature is mocking. We're huge proponents of mocking. We use mocking for everything. Mock Data CFC has been worked on and lots of releases for it. Now it's part of the TestBox suite. It allows you to mock everything in JSON for you, even nested relationships, array declarations, struct declarations, everything from 15 different data types that you can produce to custom, so your own. So you can see here on the right, we're modeling a full JSON document right there with full name, descriptions, age, is active, books, publishers, keywords, etc. So you have a lot of features to mock things. No need of APIs. We completely mock databases now using this. So this is a huge, powerful feature for you guys that are developing applications. And coming, it's just not ready, so I will tease you with an empty screen. But we are developing what we're calling Spec-ray. And Spec-ray is something that that Gavin showed me a few weeks ago, about how to improve your testing experience. So this is something that's going to be in development, but just imagine the ability for you to visualize all your specifications, the ability to target them, visualize them, execute them, choose which specs you want to actually execute, produce reports, tons of stuff, all from one single console. So Spec-ray is going to be coming pretty soon here and help facilitate all of your testing needs. Now, I know we're a little bit late, but we're at the end mark here. We've introduced lots of great new things, lots of things going on. And this is a new initiative that we've introduced. And I want to welcome my friend, Mr. Michael Bourne, which we are lovingly calling the Oreo, to present and close us out for the day. So I'm going to stop my share so you can start your own, Michael. So thank you very much, and take it away.
Thanks, Luis. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, cool. All right, so I want to talk quickly about the rise of the Oreo. And before I explain what that wacky title means, let me just talk about open source at Ortus. Ortus is an open source company at its core. Just to give you some numbers, Luis already gave you some, but we have over 70 official cold box modules hosted on Forgebox. We have 40 plus platforms, libraries, and so forth, full books of documentation on our GitBooks platform, or ortusbooks.com, and 385 total open source projects of one form or another. That's a lot of different projects, and each one of those projects has multiple releases every year. We all got different authors, John, Luis, Brad, Eric, on different platforms, CommandBox, ColdBox, and so forth. Just a quick example, I went and looked up how many releases does QB have, or has QB had in the last 12 months. It's been had 47 QB releases in the last 12 months. In my opinion, that's crazy. No offense, but what a machine. And that kind of introduced this issue we felt at Ortus, that just a little bit of our right hand doesn't know what our left hand is doing. So many releases coming out with so many different authors and just slightly different ways of doing things, that Luis and the team created this concept of the Oreo. We wanted a Ortus release overlord to kind of bring all our different projects together and just kind of create a unified focus on our open source releases. Just make sure that, especially now with more patrons supporting our open source, just want to make sure that all our releases are consistent quality. So as the Oreo, that's actually me. Thank you. My job is to just help manage and promote releases. So I'll be just making sure that our release quality is high and stays high, right? And making sure that all of our release artifacts are going out with every release. So for every release, we need a change log. I don't care if it's only a patch release, right? You still need to document what changed, what's new, what's been taken away. For documentation, the documentation needs to be updated for every single release. And then for major or minor releases, we want to make sure that we have some form of video or blog post for those. So Brad's had a great series recently, What's New in CommandBox 5. Just a good way to kind of help educate the community on what we're doing. So that's just my job in a nutshell, is just to make sure that our open source releases are going out consistently and consistently high quality. You can help with our open source and open source releases by pulling down these things and give them a try. Luis is asking for feedback on ColdBox 6. That's coming out. You can do a ColdBox 6 bleeding edge install and give it a whirl. Read the documentation. If you find a typo, don't hesitate to submit a pull request. We love to see pull requests. Even consider sponsoring a feature if there's something that your business needs and you're not, you don't have that feature in ColdBox yet. Consider sponsoring that. It's just a way to get it into your hands a little quicker, right? And it's a great way to give back to Ortus, doing all this open source work for you. So with that, thank you. So as the Oreo, just thank you for supporting our open source, and thank you for attending our Into the Box 2020 keynote. This is the end of the 2020 keynote for day one. So as a Spanish learner, I'm trying to learn Spanish to communicate with my El Salvadorian coworkers. I just had to say, vamos, let's go. Have a great day. Enjoy the sessions. And thank you so much.